Imagine a place where the ruins are not just ancient stones, but whispers of a lost people and a secret never fully revealed. What if I told you that there is a majestic temple, perfect in its beauty but unfinished, as if time itself had stopped halfway through its creation? For centuries, Sicily has been a crossroads of civilizations, a natural stage where myths and history have intertwined in indistinguishable patterns. But among its lush valleys and majestic peaks, there is one place that more than any other embodies the enigma, an enigmatic identity that continues to defy our understanding. It is not just an archaeological site, but a silent guardian of a glorious past, of a legend that still resonates today. This is the story of Segesta, the city of the Elymians, a name that evokes echoes of epic battles and extraordinary journeys. Are you ready to be transported on a journey through time where every stone has a story and every horizon hides a mystery? The history of Segesta does not begin with an ordinary founding act, but with the distant echo of a legendary tragedy, the fall of Troy. Imagine the chaos, the smoke, the screams, a thousand-year-old civilization crumbling under the onslaught of the Greeks. Among the few survivors of that catastrophe, a proud people, the Trojan refugees, led by the hero Aeneas himself, set out on their journey. They were not seeking a simple escape, but a new beginning, a destiny engraved in marble and blood. The sea, implacable and generous, took them to new lands, and after a long and troubled journey, they landed on a sun-kissed island, Sicily. Here, on the rolling, vibrant hills, they merged with the indigenous populations, giving birth to a unique culture, a melting pot of Eastern and Mediterranean traditions. The Elymians were born, a people who carried the memory of Troy in their hearts and the desire to build something eternal in their eyes. And so it was that, in this blessed strip of land, they founded Segesta, a city that would become the symbol of their resilience and their unmistakable identity. It was not a simple city, but an oath to the future, a monument to the memory of a glorious and painful past at the same time. Every element of their culture, from language to architecture, bore the traces of this extraordinary encounter, a mosaic of identities that made Segesta a place without equal. They were not just survivors, but creators of a new lineage, of a new history, written not with weapons, but with sweat and vision. But what captures the soul and the gaze of anyone who approaches Segesta is undoubtedly its Doric temple. Imagine walking among the Sicilian hills, yonder a boundless sky, and suddenly silhouetted against the blue or pink of the sunset, a breathtaking vision appears. It is not just a structure, but an epiphany, an ode to Greek architectural perfection that stands alone among the mountains. Its massive columns, of a warm golden color, seem to want to touch the sky, a hymn to the ancient greatness of a people who, although not Greek by origin, had embraced and reinterpreted their art in a sublime way. Its location is nothing short of spectacular, isolated and majestic, almost as if it had been placed there by a divine hand to be admired in all its grandeur. Yet in all this magnificence lies its greatest mystery, its intrinsic imperfection. Look at it carefully. It is perfect in its proportions, in the arrangement of its columns, in the balance it conveys. But something is missing. The roof is missing, as are the tiles that should have covered the cell and the porticos. And the columns, so imposing and severe, are smooth, without the flutes, the vertical grooves that were the unmistakable signature of every complete Doric temple. It's as if time suddenly stopped halfway through construction, a construction site abandoned not for years or decades, but for centuries, millennia. What happened? Why was such an ambitious work, so close to completion, left unfinished? This incompleteness does not diminish its beauty. On the contrary, it amplifies it. It makes it a ghost of an idea, a dream crystallized in marble and tuff. It is a silent question that asks us about the fragility of human ambitions, about the capacity to create something immortal, but also on our vulnerability in the face of unexpected events, wars, political changes, or perhaps simple economic difficulties. The Temple of Segesta is a monument not only to beauty, but to mystery, an architectural enigma that continues to whisper unanswered questions, inviting us to contemplate its eternal suspension in time. It is not just stone, but an interrupted breath, an echo of an era that, although it did not complete its work, left an indelible mark, perhaps more powerful precisely because of its incompleteness. But life in Segesta was not just beauty and contemplation, it was also steeped in tension and conflict, and its history is inextricably linked to one of the most bitter rivalries of Sicilian antiquity. Let's talk about its eternal feud with Selinunte. Imagine two sisters, neighbors but with unyielding souls, eyeing each other suspiciously across the valleys and hills. Selinunte, a wealthy, influential Greek coastal power with its majestic temples and a bustling port, was Segesta's main antagonist. They were not just geographical neighbors, they were rivals for dominion over the land, for control of trade routes, for political influence over the entire island. Every success of one was perceived as a threat to the other. This competition was not just border skirmishes or verbal disputes, it was reflected in every aspect of their culture. In art, architecture, politics, people tried to surpass one another to demonstrate a superiority that often resulted in real armed clashes. The tensions between Segesta and Selinunte were so deep that they shaped the fate of both cities and ultimately of Sicily as a whole. It was precisely to defend itself from the expansionist aims of Selinunte that Segesta, in a desperate and audacious act, asked for help from Athens, the great naval power of the time. This appeal triggered a series of events that led to the disastrous Athenian expedition to Sicily in 415 BC, an epochal conflict that changed the course of Mediterranean history. Athens suffered a crushing defeat, its ambitions of hegemony dashed against the Sicilian coast, but Selinunt also did not have peace for long. The rivalry continued, escalating into further requests for help, this time from Carthage, the Punic power in North Africa. The Carthaginian intervention was devastating. Selinunte was razed to the ground, its splendid works of art destroyed, its inhabitants massacred or enslaved. Segesta, although it survived, paid a very high price for its alliances, remaining involved in an endless cycle of wars and subjugations. This rivalry was not just a local drama, it was a conflict that mirrored the power dynamics of the ancient world, where ambition and jealousy could spark continental wars and redefine entire civilizations. The story of Segesta and Selinunte is a powerful warning about the uncontrollable spiral of conflict and the long term consequences of political choices. And then there is it, another jewel that crowns the magnificence of Segesta, the Greek theatre. Imagine not a construction, but almost a sculpture set directly into the rock on the summit of Monte Barbaro. It is not just a place where shows were held, it is a window into the soul of a people, a privileged observation point not only of the surrounding landscape, but of existence as a whole. Climbing up there is already a mystical experience in itself, a pilgrimage that rewards you with a breathtaking view, but the real spectacle is revealed once you reach the stands. Look how these ancient stone steps, arranged in a semicircle, extend not towards a painted backdrop, but directly towards infinity. The gaze of the spectators, sitting on those same thousand-year-old stones, was not confined, it was lost beyond the scene, embracing an unparalleled natural setting, the Gulf of Castellamare. Imagine fiery sunsets painting the sea orange and purple, ships sailing the waters, mountains rising on the horizon. This was the setting for the Greek tragedies that were performed here, under the blazing sun or the bright stars. Stories of heroes and gods, of love and hate, of fate and free will resonated across the mountains, amplified by incredible acoustics. The actors performed, and behind them, the grandeur of the natural world merged with the epic nature of the narratives. There were no special effects, just the power of the word and the grandeur of Mother Nature. The atmosphere must have been vibrant, charged with emotion. Imagine the audience dressed in colorful tunics, laughing, crying, reflecting on the words of Sophocles or Euripides, with the wind carrying the scent of time and the sea. The stories of Oedipus, Antigone, Medea came to life not in a closed theater, but in an embrace between heaven and earth, between human art and divine magnificence. The theater of Segesta was not only a place of entertainment, but a cultural and spiritual center where the community gathered to confront the great questions of existence, to celebrate their values, and to honor their deities. Even today, sitting on those stones, you can almost hear the echo of those voices, the rustling of cloaks, the beating of hearts. It is an experience that transcends simple tourism, an emotional journey that connects us directly with the roots of our civilization, where man and nature dance together in an eternal performance. At the end of this journey through legends and ruins, what remains of Segesta? It remains one of the most mysterious and evocative places in Italy, a fragment of ancient Greece suspended in another dimension, an island within an island. It is not just an archaeological site, but a sort of time portal where past and present merge, where every stone tells a thousand-year-old story and every breath of wind carries the whispers of a proud people, the Elymians, who claim to be descendants of refugees from Troy. The unfinished temple, with its majestic beauty and its enigmatic incompleteness, continues to challenge our understanding, a silent testimony to the fragility of human ambition and the power of art. And the theatre, carved into the rock of Monte Barbaro, with the Gulf of Castellamare as its natural backdrop, is not only a monument to ingenuity, but an invitation to contemplate the grandeur of nature and the depths of human tragedies. These places are not silent, they still evoke the memory of a people who left an indelible mark on history, an eternal witness to a golden age that, despite all its contradictions and conflicts, was able to create beauty and meaning. Segesta continues to enchant visitors, not only for its aesthetics, but for the aura of mystery that surrounds it, for the untold stories and secrets it whispers to anyone willing to listen, not only with their ears, but with their hearts. It is a living, breathing piece of history that invites us to reflect on our very existence, our past, and our future. If this journey through time has fascinated you, don't miss the next video to discover another hidden mystery of Italy.